What to look for when buying a second-hand camera? I get asked this question a lot on my channel from people wanting to save money on buying a new one. So I decided to make this video, and I'm going to give you some tips on what I like to use when it comes to buying a second-hand camera. I've actually bought a few second-hand cameras in my time as a photographer, and if you do things right, you can snare a bargain. But there are some things you need to keep your eyes out for. Shutter mechanisms inside cameras actually do have a lifespan, so that's one thing you need to keep in mind. They don't last forever. When buying a second-hand camera, the first thing I ask someone, if they haven't already provided it, is what's the shutter count? In simple words, how many photos has the camera actually taken? Just like a car with low mileage, a camera with a low shutter count can indicate the camera hasn't been used very much and may be in very good condition. Second-hand cameras with a high shutter count can indicate the camera has been used a lot and it may be nearing the lifespan of the shutter. This could lead you to having to replace the shutter in the coming months or years, depending on your use. Replacing shutters can be costly, so that is something you should keep in mind when buying a second-hand camera. To find out a camera model's shutter lifespan, just Google the model of the camera with shutter lifespan, and you'll have your answer that you can gauge from. Look for particles, spots or smears, even scratches on the camera's sensor using something like a sensor loupe or a magnifying glass. If you see any marks or scratches that can't be fixed with a good sensor clean, then my best advice is to move on and find another camera. Sensor loupes are relatively inexpensive and you're probably going to need one in the future anyway with the camera you end up with. They come in very handy when it comes to do-it-yourself sensor cleaning at home. Wear and tear on buttons and switches or even cracks or scratches on the body could indicate that the camera has had a hard life, or even worse, it's been dropped, like what happened to me in Japan. Wear and tear on things like buttons means that those buttons may soon no longer be that responsive as what they once were when they were new. Also look around the lens mount for any sort of damage or looseness, because this can be an indication the camera may have been dropped or it's been used extensively in using heavy lenses with not much support. Cracks or scratches on the top area of the camera near the viewfinder or the side doors are missing can also be another indication the camera has been dropped at some stage. Now, good second-hand camera sellers will normally go out of their way to inform you or show you visual evidence, either in person or via photos, any sort of damage the camera has, so you can make an informed decision whether to risk it and buy or not. Check the back LCD screen for any sort of cracks or scratches. Same goes if there's a top LCD screen. Depending on the price you pay and if you can tolerate the crack or scratch on the back LCD screen, it may still very well be a good camera. And you don't necessarily need the LCD screen to take photos. Looking through the viewfinder can be an alternative for taking photos, and at the end of the day, as long as the photos come out clean for viewing on your computer or whatever device afterwards, that's what matters most. If the price is low on the camera and the bargain is too good to be true, well, normally it isn't. Good second-hand camera sellers will normally price their cameras accordingly when it comes to any sort of wear and tear or damage the camera has sustained. The shutter count may be nearing its lifespan and require a new one soon. The best thing to do is look at the price of the camera model that you're interested in when it was new. Then you can gauge whether the pricing is fair or if they're asking too much for it secondhand. Last little tip I'll leave you with is to always look through the viewfinder of the camera that you're going to buy, because with a DSLR, look for things like mold or dust spots inside that viewfinder, because if they can't be removed with something simply like a blower brush, they can be very expensive to get repaired, as well as with a mirrorless. look through the viewfinder and see if you can see any sort of dead pixels happening. That could be an indication that the viewfinder is on its way out, and that means that you could be in for more costly repairs. Anyway guys, I hope this video has helped you out when it comes to what you should look for when buying a second-hand camera. By all means, give me the thumbs up. That does help my channel to grow. Never stop creating, and I'll see you next time.